The notification came at exactly 2:47 in the afternoon. A sharp, unexpected ping on my phone. For a second, I ignored it. I was sitting in the middle of a quiet cafe, halfway through replying to emails, trying to keep my nerves steady before the biggest day of my life. But then I saw the alert. Main entrance door opened. My stomach dropped. Because I wasn't home. I wasn't even supposed to be anywhere near the house today. And more importantly, no one else had permission to be there. I slowly put my coffee down, my fingers suddenly cold, and opened the security app. The live feed loaded, pixel by pixel, like it was deliberately trying to test my patience. And then, I saw them. My family. Standing inside Thornwood Manor. Uninvited. Unannounced. And completely out of place. 3 years ago, Thornwood Manor had been nothing more than a forgotten relic. Perched on the edge of the Pacific cliffs, it looked like something out of an old, abandoned dream. The gardens were wild and overgrown, the windows dusty, the grand staircase cracked like it had given up on holding weight. Most people saw ruin. I saw potential. I saw beauty waiting to breathe again. And somehow, I fell in love with it. Now, standing in that same house, fully restored, glowing under crystal chandeliers and polished marble floors. I should have felt proud. I should have felt excited. Tomorrow was my wedding day. Everything was ready. Everything was perfect. Except it wasn't. Because right in the center of the foyer, my mother was speaking. And when my mother spoke like that, people listened. "We are canceling this venue," she said, her voice calm but sharp enough to cut through glass. The event coordinator, Helena, blinked in confusion. "I'm sorry, ma'am," she replied carefully. "But I don't have any cancellation request from the bride." My mother didn't even look at her. "She doesn't know what she's doing," she said dismissively. "This wedding is over." A silence spread across the room. Heavy. Uncomfortable. Final. I stood a few steps away, frozen, my heart pounding in my ears. Next to me, Nathan tightened his grip on my hand. I could feel the pressure of my engagement ring digging into my skin. Not pain, just a reminder. This was real. This mattered. And they were trying to take it away. My father stepped forward next. Calm. Controlled. Calculated. The way he always was. "We'll need a full refund," he said, addressing Helena like he was already in a courtroom. Holding funds for an event that won't take place could raise legal concerns. Legal concerns? Of course. To him, everything was a transaction. Even this. Behind them stood the rest of my family. My aunt. My uncle. My grandmother. My younger sister Madison, standing perfectly poised beside her husband, Derek, like they had just stepped out of a magazine. They all looked the same. Confident. Certain. Like they had already decided how this story would end. "This isn't your decision," Nathan finally said, his voice low but steady. My mother turned her gaze toward him slowly. And smiled. Not kindly. Not warmly. But the kind of smile that made you feel small without saying a word. "Isn't it?" she said. "Because from where I'm standing, this entire situation is built on something that doesn't exist." Nathan stiffened. I felt it instantly. "They can't afford this place," she continued, glancing around the room as if everything here offended her. "Let's stop pretending otherwise." A few quiet chuckles followed. From my own family. I swallowed hard. Not because she was wrong, but because she had no idea how wrong she actually was. "Nathan studies fish," she added casually, like she was listing something ridiculous. "And Olivia works at a nonprofit." She paused. Then laughed. "A beautiful dream," she said. "But dreams don't pay for places like this." My sister Madison tilted her head slightly, her lips curving into a soft, knowing smile. "You can barely afford your apartment," she said gently. "You drive an old car. Last Christmas, you made everyone gifts by hand." Her eyes met mine. "Just admit it," she added. "This whole thing isn't real." That one hit deeper than the rest. Not because of what she said, but because of how easily she said it. Like she had always believed it. Like I had always been less. I stepped forward slowly. My heart was racing, but my voice surprisingly calm. "This isn't a fantasy," I said. Every head turned toward me. Even Helena straightened slightly, like she had been waiting for me to finally speak. My mother sighed. "Oh, sweetheart," she said softly, almost pitying. "We know you want this to be real." She took a step closer. "But wanting something doesn't make it yours." A quiet vibration came from Helena's tablet. She glanced down, then back up, and something in her expression changed. Subtle, but noticeable. Like she suddenly knew something the rest of us didn't. "I'm sorry," she said politely, stepping aside. "I need to take this call." She moved just far enough away, but not far enough to be unheard. Yes, she said into the phone. They're all here. A pause. Then, no, the bride hasn't approved anything. Another pause. Longer this time. Her posture straightened. I understand, she said. I'll let them know. She ended the call and walked back toward us. Her smile had returned, but now it carried something else. Something sharper. Almost like anticipation. The property owner has been informed, she said clearly. My father frowned. The owner, he repeated. I thought this place belonged to a development company. It does, Helena replied calmly. But the managing partner prefers to handle situations like this personally. My mother lifted her chin slightly. Good, she said. Then he can hear the truth directly. I didn't say anything. I just stood there, waiting. Because for the first time since this whole thing started, I wasn't nervous anymore. I was ready. The room felt different after that call. Quieter, but heavier. Like something invisible had just entered the space, and everyone could feel it, even if they didn't understand it yet. My mother crossed her arms. Impatient. Confident. Certain that whatever was about to happen would only prove her right. So, she said, breaking the silence, let's stop wasting time. She turned to me again. Tell us the truth, Olivia. Where did the money come from? Her voice was softer now. But not kinder. Never kinder. I held her gaze. For a moment I thought about answering. About explaining everything. About finally saying the truth out loud. But then I looked at everyone else. My father already judging. My sister already amused. My grandmother already disappointed. No, not like this. Maybe you don't have all the facts, I said quietly. My father let out a short laugh. Oh, I think we do, he replied. We know what you earn. We know what he earns. He gestured toward Nathan. And we definitely know what this place costs. He paused. The numbers don't add up. Then maybe, I said, taking a slow breath, you're missing something. My mother smiled again. That same cold smile. What could we possibly be missing? She asked. Did you win the lottery? A few chuckles. Or did someone else pay for all of this? That question hung in the air. Heavy. Accusing. Nathan shifted beside me. I could feel his frustration, his anger, barely contained. But before he could say anything, footsteps echoed from above. Slow. Measured. Unhurried. Everyone turned. The sound came from the grand staircase. And then he appeared. A man in his mid-30s. Simple clothes. No suit. No tie. Just a plain shirt, slightly wrinkled, sleeves rolled up like he had been working. But there was something about the way he moved. Confident. Effortless. Like he belonged there. Because he did. He walked down the stairs casually, like this was just another normal moment. Like a room full of tension meant nothing. Like none of this surprised him. Sorry I'm late, he said. His voice calm. Almost amused. I had a call I couldn't miss. Helena nodded respectfully. Of course, sir. Sir. That one word changed everything. I didn't move. I didn't speak. But I felt it. The shift. The moment everything started to fall apart, for them. My mother frowned. Confused. Uncertain. Ethan, she said slowly. He reached the bottom step. Then looked directly at her. And smiled. But not the way she used to smile. Not controlled. Not polished. Real. And a little dangerous. Hi, Mom, he said casually. Silence. Complete silence. You. My father started then stopped. What are you doing here? Ethan glanced around the foyer. At the chandeliers. At the polished floors. At everything that had once been broken. And was now perfect. I live here, he said simply. No one spoke. No one moved. It was like the entire room had frozen. That's not possible, my mother said immediately. Her voice sharp. Defensive. This place belongs to me, Ethan interrupted calmly. Another silence. This one louder than the last. I felt Nathan's hand tighten around mine again. But this time, not from fear. From realization. I bought it 3 years ago, Ethan continued. It was falling apart. Needed work. He shrugged slightly. I liked it. My father stared at him. Trying to process. Trying to catch up. You're saying, he began slowly, you own Thornwood Manor? Yes. Just one word. No explanation. No apology. No hesitation. The air shifted again. But this time, it wasn't tension. It was shock. My mother looked at me. Then back at him. Then at me again. Like she was trying to solve a puzzle that suddenly didn't make sense anymore. So this is what? She said sharply. Some kind of charity? Ethan's expression changed. Slightly. just enough to notice. Charity, he repeated. Then he stepped forward, closer to me, and placed an arm around my shoulders. No, he said quietly. This is family. I felt my throat tighten. I'm paying for her wedding, he continued, his voice steady, because she's my sister. He glanced at Nathan. And because she's marrying someone who actually makes her happy. No one laughed this time. And because, he added, his tone hardening just a little, for once she deserves a day that isn't about being judged. That landed hard. My aunt looked away. My sister shifted uncomfortably. Even my father didn't interrupt. You don't understand, my mother said quickly, trying to regain control. We were trying to help her. Ethan looked at her. Really looked at her. Help her, he said. Then let out a quiet breath. It sounded more like you were tearing her down. That's not fair, she snapped. No, he replied calmly. What's not fair is showing up the day before her wedding and trying to cancel it. Silence again. But this time, no one argued. Ethan turned slightly, addressing the room. All of you walked in here already convinced she wasn't capable, he said. You didn't ask. You didn't listen. He paused. You decided. I could feel it. Every word landing. Every assumption breaking. She built a life you never bothered to understand, he continued. And instead of being proud, he looked directly at my parents. You tried to fix something that wasn't broken. No one had anything to say. For the first time, they didn't have control. And for the first time, I wasn't the one defending myself. I was just standing there, watching the truth unfold. And it wasn't over yet. The silence didn't break immediately. It stretched. Heavy, uncomfortable, unavoidable. For once, no one in my family had something to say. No quick judgment. No clever remark. No control. My mother was the first to move. Slowly, carefully, like the ground beneath her wasn't as stable as it used to be. You should have told us, she said, her voice quieter now. But it wasn't an apology. Not really. Ethan shook his head slightly. I didn't tell you, he replied calmly, because I already knew what would happen. He took a step forward. You would have made it about you. That hit harder than anything before. You would have taken credit, he continued. Or tried to control it. Or decided how Olivia should use something that was never yours. He paused. I didn't buy this house for you. My father finally spoke. His voice different. Less certain. You disappeared, he said. For years. I left, Ethan corrected. There's a difference. Another silence. I left because every choice I made was wrong to you, he continued. Every risk, every failure, every success. He looked directly at them. You didn't care about me. You cared about what I represented. My mother's eyes filled slightly. That's not true, she said. Ethan didn't argue. He just asked one simple question. When's my birthday? The room froze again. My mother blinked. Once. Twice. Her lips parted, but no words came out. March, she started uncertainly. Ethan gave a small nod. Go on. 15th. A pause. Long enough to hurt. November 2nd, he said quietly. No anger. No shouting. Just truth. I turned 35 last month, he added. Did you call? She didn't answer. Because she couldn't. I felt my chest tighten. Tears burning in my eyes. Olivia calls every year, Ethan said, softer now. She remembers everything. He looked at me for a moment. She's the only one who ever saw me for who I am, not for what I could become. I couldn't stop the tears anymore. Nathan's arm wrapped around me instantly, steady and warm. And that's why, Ethan continued, turning back to them, I'm doing this. He gestured around the room. The wedding is paid for. The house is ready. Everything is exactly how she wanted it. He paused. And tomorrow she's getting married here. No one argued. No one protested. Because there was nothing left to say. Ethan's voice became firm again. Clear. Final. You will be here tomorrow, he said. You will smile. You will be respectful. No comments about money. No comments about careers. He looked at Nathan. You will treat him like the man she chose. Then he looked back at my parents. And you will treat her like she matters. Another silence. But this one was different. Slowly. My father nodded. Good, Ethan said. Helena stepped forward at the perfect moment, professional as always. I can show everyone to the guest house, she offered. My family didn't argue. Didn't resist. They just followed. Quieter than I had ever seen them before. Everyone left. Except one. My grandmother. She walked toward us slowly, leaning on her cane. Her expression softer than before. Older somehow. I remember, she said gently. Ethan frowned slightly. Remember what? Your birthday, she replied. November 2nd. A faint smile touched her lips. You were born during a storm. Ethan didn't speak. And Olivia, she continued, turning to me, used to save her allowance just to buy you gifts. I looked down. I had forgotten that. I know we failed you, she said quietly. Both of you. No one interrupted her. This family valued the wrong things, she added. Money, status, appearance. She sighed softly. And I never stopped it. She reached out, touched Ethan's cheek, then mine. But I'm proud of you, she said. Not for what you have, but for who you became. Ethan's composure cracked just slightly. Walk her down the aisle tomorrow, she said to him. You've earned that right. Then she looked at me. And you, she whispered, have a beautiful wedding. And just like that, she turned and left. The house was quiet again, but not empty. Nathan let out a slow breath. Well, he said softly, that was intense. I laughed. A shaky, emotional laugh. I'm so sorry, I said. I didn't think they'd go this far. You don't apologize for them, his father said firmly. You're not them. Nathan pulled me closer. You never were. I leaned into him. For the first time that day, I felt calm. Ethan straightened his shirt, back to normal, like none of this had shaken him. All right, he said lightly. We've got a wedding in a few hours. I smiled through my tears. Tomorrow, I said. He grinned. Even better. And he was right, because the next day, everything changed. The ceremony took place at sunset, right at the edge of the cliffs. The ocean crashing below, the sky painted in gold and orange. Ethan walked me down the aisle. Steady, proud. And when he placed my hand in Nathan's, I saw something I had never seen before. Peace. My parents sat in the front row. Quiet. Respectful. Trying. And for the first time in my life, that was enough. The night was filled with laughter. With real conversations. With people who cared about each other. Not just appearances. And as I stood there, surrounded by everything I had built, I realized something. Success isn't what they told me it was. It's not money. It's not status. It's not approval. It's this. Choosing your own life. Standing by it. And being surrounded by people who see you for who you truly are. And for the first time, my family finally did.